and Anthony Miller. It will be Miller across the 25 to the 27-yard line. So Jim McMahon comes on after a 22-yard return. And you see the numbers. Started every game until last week. His offensive line, Patton, is banged up. He's got a disc problem, but he will start. Thompson, Courtney Hall, the youngest player to be drafted. Richards, Miller, and Arthur Cox, the big tight end. Spencer and Caravello in the backfield. Miller and Holland are the two flyers outside, and Wayne Walker will also come in passing downs. First down at the 27. And there's a hole on the right side for Spencer. And he picks up close to 5 yards. Defensively for Philadelphia, and this is one of the better teams defensively that you'll see. White, Pitts, Brown, and Simmons up front. Simmons has 10.5 sacks. Active linebackers, Joyner, Byron Evans, and Al Harris, acquired from the Bears. And in the secondary, Jenkins, Allen, Hopkins, Andre Waters, Frizzell, and Everett come in nickel and dime situations. In the last 4 games, the Eagles have gotten 21 sacks and 12 interceptions, not to mention the 4 wins. This defense has been cooking. 2nd and 4 for McMahon. Again, there's a hole for Spencer. He's got a first down and blasts his way out to the 44-yard line. Tackle was made by Byron Evans after a pickup of 11.
Well, the key there is they got a nice block out of their right tackle. And watch the hole develop in here, and that allows Tim Spencer to cut back. You see that block right there. It was Brett Miller, number 74 for the Chargers. Got a nice block on Mike Pitts and allowed his running back, Tim Spencer, to just slide up inside and get that yardage.
First down, Chargers at the 44. Power right formation. Everybody's tight for McMahon. Going to try to establish the running game. This time Spencer gets maybe 2. Seth Joyner got there first, and he got help from Pitts, Brown, and Reggie White.
It makes some sense for the Chargers to try to establish their running game. Tim Spencer is a big running back. Tim, you'll remember him from his USFL days. He played with the Chicago Blitz then. He's out of Ohio State, and just a big, strong running back. Has to go about 220 or so, and you got to get the football in his hands and try to establish that running game because the Chargers have had so many problems trying to throw the football recently.
He is the leading rusher with 267 yards, an average of 4 per carry. 2nd down and 8. The Chargers believe to a man that they are better than their 2-6 record. McMahon's first pass, and he throws it away.
And you wonder how come that wasn't a downing penalty there, because Jimmy simply threw the ball away. There was no receiver in the area. Good pressure that time by the Philadelphia defensive line. The Chargers are going with a 3-step drop on that to try to throw on rhythm, and you watch Reggie White here. He's the guy that causes all the havoc, as is usual. He didn't get held there by Brett Miller, so he got in and got that pressure on Jim McMahon and unceremoniously dumped him to the turf.
Actually, great play from the middle, not only from Reggie White there that you see, but also from Pitts and Brown, who got penetration and made McMahon, after his 3 steps, pull it back and then look to the right. 6 defensive backs now for the Eagles on 3rd down and 8 at the 46. McMahon has the first down. It's complete to Anthony Miller.
Jim McMahon has to be thanking his lucky stars of that time. Reggie White picked up Brett Miller, took him back about 5 yards, threw him to the turf, and then went after the quarterback. Good pressure there by Reggie White. He's going to have a big day here. Now watch him over on the right side of your screen, number 92. He's taking on 74. You see him run right over the offensive right tackle and get to the quarterback, but Anthony Miller ran a little curl route and there, was wide open.
The Chargers have had problems scoring, no question about that. It's first down at the 44. McMahon has them moving. Marion Butts comes in now as the lone setback. This is Butts. Gets 1, possibly 2, but the tackle was made by Jerome Brown.
And one of the things that Buddy Ryan likes to do with his defense is he will allow you to move between the 20s. It's always kind of been his way. He doesn't like to do it, but he will allow you to do that against his defense. When you get down in that red zone area, that's when they really tighten up. You see a little bit more blitzing then, but historically this season the Eagles have not been blitzing as much because they find themselves getting in one-on-one situations coverage-wise, and they don't like that.
Ryan in his 4th year, 55 years old. It's 2nd down and 8 for the Chargers at the 42. There's pressure. McMahon avoids it and again throws it away. That's experience there. The pressure came from Mike Pitts.
One thing you have to think about when you talk about this Philadelphia defensive line, everybody always says Reggie's the guy. Reggie's the guy putting the pressure on, but it really goes all up and down that line. Mike Pitts is doing a sensational job inside, as well as Clyde Simmons on the other side, who has 10.5 sacks, as you mentioned earlier. So it's not always one star that shines in the universe. There's a whole bunch of them up there. And when you look at that Philadelphia defensive line, that's why they're one of the best in the National Football League.
Sammy Lilly comes in defensively along with William Frizzell as Philadelphia goes to 6 defensive backs on 3rd down and 8. Here it comes again. McMahon steps up in the pocket, has the completion inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. The catch was made by Anthony Miller. A gain of 22, and Miller is the leading pass receiver.
McMahon caught him in a little zone coverage that time. Watch Seth Joyner. Watch the linebackers kind of drop back and settle in that zone. Anthony Miller's going to beat the zone and then slide inside, avoiding Andre Waters there. And just right in between the zones, right in the seam, that's where you want to be, and that's where Anthony Miller found himself.
30 of the Chargers' 47-man roster have come to San Diego since 1988. We saw the numbers on Miller. Marion Butts remains in as the lone setback. But that's been part of the problem with this Charger team. So many new bodies, new players, haven't meshed together yet. Arthur Cox drops that one, and it was right there for him.
Tried to run Arthur on a little pick outside, slight delay there, and try to fool the outside linebackers. They were in the 46 defense, the Eagles were.
Arthur is a load.
270 at the tight end position. That's a tackle, misguided as a tight end.
He has 12 catches, 2 touchdowns this year. 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games, if you want to be more specific. Dan Henning, the 8th coach of the Chargers, 47 years old, former San Diego quarterback, former head coach of the Falcons. It's 2nd down and 10, the ball at the 19. Little delay, but gets a block. Forces his way inside the 15 to the 14-yard line, but when he went head-on with Joyner, Joyner won.
You know, that time the Chargers ran that counter trade. Now watch these backside linemen pull. The key there is Joel Patton's got to come back up in here along with his running back if this play is going to be successful. You see the down blocking there. Now the 2 big linemen pulling around. Broderick Thomas out front gets a good block on Reggie White. But see, if the back stays in tight and Marion, then that allows the play to get downfield. You got to stay in tight on that play. You can't go wide.
3rd down and 5 at the 14. Dana Brinson comes in now for the Chargers. McMahon underneath, complete to the 10. It's Joe Caravella, the H-back. Acquired in the Plan B free agency from Washington. He too is big at 270 pounds. His 9th reception of the year.
Chargers ran a little pick play down here. Now watch in here. Watch Caravella. You're going to see him slide out here. There's a pick going on in there. And as a result, the linebackers get knocked off of each other because of the pick play. You see Caravella going out tight end. The other one is Parker going back outside. That little pick play allowed him to get open underneath.
They're bringing out the chains, Dan. It's close enough where they'll put it down again and take another look. They better get down on the ground. If it's that close, give it to them. They do.
Dan Henning, one-time a quarterback here for the San Diego Chargers in his youth. Mentioned to us the other day, he's looking at that international league and how much fun it is to play football. He says he wouldn't mind going back into a senior league if they invented one for older players.
Well, he's feisty. He could probably still play. Dana Brinson stays in. He's suffering from a neck injury. Didn't know if he would play today, but on 1st and goal at the 9, he's in. And McMahon looks at him, and it's incomplete. Reichenbach, the linebacker, was covering Brinson that time, and McMahon had to unload it. And Brinson is really hurting now.
What the Chargers are doing on several occasions, especially when they feel that they're going to get a heavy pressure from the Eagles defense, is they'll leave their tight end, Arthur Cox, in the game in terms of blocking. He'll sit back there and help out that offensive line, take some pressure off of Reggie White rushing in.
Let me explain the situation. Dana Brinson has a neck injury. Darren Nelson has a hamstring injury, both the 3rd down players. They didn't know whether to make one inactive, so they kept them both and said they would alternate them. 13th play of the drive. It's 2nd and goal from the 9. A little delay. To the 7-yard line goes Dana Brinson. Al Harris made the stop.
Tim, one thing that happens as an offense when you get down near the goal line is things speed up a great deal. And if you try to run delays like that little lag draw that the Chargers just tried to run, you can't really be successful with that down close to the goal line because, again, everything speeds up along that offensive and defensive line. You take that much time trying to get to the line of scrimmage, you're bound to meet somebody from the defense.
San Diego ranks 26th in the league in total offense. They're 3 for 3 on third down conversions in this drive. It's 3rd goal at the 7. McMahon, timing pattern. Inside the 5, touchdown Anthony Miller. There is a flag. Hold on. It's against Philadelphia. The touchdown will stand.
Roughing the passer, number 37 defense.
The quarterback a little late.
6 points, 15 yards on the kickoff.
With 8:53 remaining first quarter, the San Diego Chargers have opened the eyes of Buddy Ryan and the Eagles.
That penalty, as you probably heard, was roughing the quarterback. A little late hit there on Jim McMahon.
Chris Barr comes on to attempt the extra point. It's good, and it's 7-0 Chargers. A perfect strike to Anthony Miller.
What happened on the touchdown plays, you're going to see Anthony Miller here come in motion, a little doodad motion, and come back out, make the nice one-handed grab there and beat William Frizzell, number 33, for the touchdown. Now watch this one-hand stab here. This is beautiful. This is the way you draw it up. And if you can get a wide receiver to do that with one hand, you're in business. Now watch that little move there. See, that's the thing that really got him in the end zone. After he made the one-hand stab, then he makes a great run after that.
Chris Barr to kick off to Henry Williams and Anthony Edwards. It's Edwards at the 9-yard line. And the Chargers are flying high after a 4-yard return. The tackle made by Marion Butts. So Randall Cunningham will come on to lead the Philadelphia attack. Hitting 54% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You can see that on these numbers. 5th in an NFC. He's also the leading rusher now and the leading runner the last 2 years. But he's backed up here. 1st down and 10, the ball on his own 10. Off the right side goes Drummond. Breaks it around the corner and gets about 4. Offensively for Philadelphia, it's Darwin, Shad, Alexander, Ron Salt, and Ron Heller up front, along with Keith Jackson back from his injury. Byers and Tony in the backfield, Ron Johnson and Chris Carter outside, and Greg Garrity, of course, Mr. Clutch, comes in on passing situations. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Byers. Not much there. Burt Grossman, Joe Phillips, and the linebackers filled quickly. Let's set that defensive lineup for you. It's Williams, Phillips, and Burt Grossman, the man who just made that tackle. Grossman has 3 sacks on the year. Billy Ray Smith, Plummer, Cedric Figueroa, and Leslie O'Neal. And we'll keep an eye on big number 91 all day. He is active. Bird, Seal, Glenn, and Bayless in the secondary, along with Lester Lyles and Elvis Patterson when they go to nickel and dime situations. 3rd down and 4. 3 wide receivers. Out of the shotgun, Byers is with Cunningham. And it's Byers who cannot hold on. They'll have to punt.
Keith Byers had a little shoulder problem earlier this week, and You figure when he has to reach up for a pass like that, maybe that shoulder's bothering him a little bit, but certainly when you realize how much the Eagles are going to count on that running game today, a guy like Byers has to have a big day along with Chris Carter, a wide receiver.
John Telchik will be standing at his own goal line, so the Chargers look to have good field position coming back offensively. Wayne Walker is at his 45-yard line. There's pressure. It's a high spiraling punt that turns over. Walker will take it all the way back at the 36. So Telchik does a tremendous job with a 49-yard punt, and there is no return. So with 7:15 remaining first period, McMahon comes back on. He was 4 for 8 on the first drive. Tim Brand along with Dan Jiggets with 7:15 remaining first period. The Chargers lead 7-0 as you look at Jim McMahon with his sunglass visor.
And here's a cartoon that was in today's newspaper. And of course, it's making fun about Jim McMahon having blown his nose on that local writer. And sometimes you think that's childish behavior. Well, sometimes you also shrink the quarterback a little bit. And maybe everyone thinks that Jim McMahon is indeed an infant.
Looks just like you.
Got the headband, the spike there. He's all set.
1st and 10 at the 36. Play action for McMahon. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Jamie Holland. And Eric Allen had pretty good coverage.
Eric Allen had coverage that was tighter than a mosquito's wrestling jacket on that play. only way Jimmy McMahon could have gotten that ball and was a good idea and hand it off. Good coverage by the Eagles. You see the Chargers have had a lot of success, in that first drive running the football. So now they go back to their play action on first down. Sets up the defense very nicely for what you want to do in terms of running the football.
On 2nd and 10, this is Butts. Breaks one tackle and gets back to the line of scrimmage maybe. Al Harris finally made the stop.
But, Tim, the real key on the play was Clyde Simmons. You saw Clyde string the play out to the sideline, allowing his linebacker to come upfield and make the stop. Those are the kinds of valuable things that defensive linemen do. This guy finally has some of the light shining on him defensively. Reggie White usually gets a lot of it, but watch Clyde Simmons here kind of string the play out, watch the whole defense, take the play to the sideline, and allow Al Harris to come back up number 95 and make the stop. You see Clyde Simmons is really fighting off 2 blocks there, gets rid of that tight end, number 88, and just strings the play out. Marion Butts can't turn the corner, and the secondary comes up to make the stop.
Simmons is quite a story. 9th round draft pick out of Western Carolina in 1986. This is Brinson. Out to the 40-yard line. While we're talking about Simmons, and everybody's starting to notice him now as he makes that tackle, he used to bench press 300 pounds. Watch Reggie White said, hey, he needs to be strong. Now he's up to 450 pounds in the bench press.
Well, look at that. He's got good foot speed, too. You see he chases down this counter tray from the backside. It was successful, though, for the Chargers because, as I talked about earlier, you saw at that time Butts tuck it up inside, and that way he was able to gain some yardage on the play.
Ilisic back to punt for the Chargers. Gizmo Williams will try to field this one, but it'll hit at the 35, take a Philadelphia bounce, and be down at the 30. A 31-yard punt, no return. And with 5:42 remaining in the first period, it's still 7-0.
At the counter tray. Now I want to show you something here. Watch this. This is the lead guard. He's going to block Reggie White. The tackle's going to pull up, and I said that the back, in this case, Brinson, has to tuck it up inside, not run outside. Now watch how this play works, though. It's a play that you'll see the Eagles run just as well as the Chargers. It's a play where you can get that backside tackle and guard running out there, let them feel like they're athletes again.
Play action for Cunningham on first down. Throws to Byers. And Byers has a Philadelphia first down and then some. Still going across the 45 before he's knocked out of bounds. Great play fake by Cunningham, and then the rest was picked up by Byers, a gain of 16.
This must be the day for one-handed stabs. You saw Keith Byers that time grab the ball with one hand, and he's doing it without any gloves on. He's going with just his bare hands, something I'd like to see. If you're in 70-degree weather, I don't know why you want to wear the tacky gloves.
Best field position of the day for the Philadelphia offense. This is Byers, right side, big hole into Charger territory at the 47. Tackle made by Cedric Figueroa. Second-year pro out of Notre Dame.
You see there the hands of Keith Byars. He's just going with the natural look. And again, I think you have a better feel for the ball when you're in warm weather. Granted, when you're in cold weather, you kind of need those gloves. But out here in San Diego, you really don't need them.
Philadelphia's third consecutive game against AFC West teams. They're 2-0. Trying to make it a hat trick. On second down and 5 for Cunningham. Across the middle, and it's complete. Great catch by Robert Drummond. The third-round rookie out of Syracuse.
That catch was so good, Drummond's helmet jumped off because it wanted to see it as well. See, Randall Cunningham gets good protection from his offensive line. That's going to be a key today for the Philadelphia Eagles because they're going to get some rush from the Chargers. Cunningham, nice time there. You see Drummond down on that little corner pattern there, and he just does a nice job of pushing off the defense and then getting to the open area and making a great play by reaching down and picking that one up.
I'm not sure Martin Bayless touched him while he was down.
Could have got up and kept running.
I don't think he wanted to without a helmet. First down, Eagles at the 28. Drummond breaks the tackle and gains a yard. The Chargers defense is allowing just 13 points a game in their last 6 outings. Great defensive effort. But while that's been happening, the offense for San Diego has really struggled.
Especially when you look at the critical situations, the third down situations. But defensively, guys like Lee Williams, who was a Pro Bowler last year, number 99, that time the Eagles tried to sucker him upfield a little bit by not blocking it. He read the draw right away and went in and made the stop.
Second down and 9. We get word that Anthony Toney's shoulder is bothering him. That's why he's not in the lineup. Cunningham has it complete to Keith Jackson. That's Jackson's 28th catch of the year, second leading receiver.
You know, when you get a tight end like Keith Jackson back in the ball game, one of the things you want to do is send him on a couple of nice short routes, let him get loosened up, runs a stop route here at about 8 or 9 yards, just to get him the ball, let him get comfortable catching the football again. This guy has to have a big day in order for the Eagles to be successful. You saw them try to strip the ball out there, but he was already down on the ground.
He's had back spasms. Now he has a sore ankle. He was saying, how can you have so many catches your first year, go to the Pro Bowl, come in and get hurt right away your second year? Straight ahead, Byars, flags fly. And there's not much there. George Hinkle got there first, along with a host of other San Diego Chargers. And it's against the Birds.
Holding number 72. Offense, 10 yards, still third down.
The holding was on David Alexander. The referee, Dick Jorgensen. The umpire, Ron Botchin. The head linesman, Sanford Rivers. Dale Oram is the line judge, and I know you're going to keep a close eye today on the umpire.
Because I want to see if anybody is indeed holding Reggie White, and that umpire's the guy that should call those holding plays, holding penalties, excuse me.
Second penalty for Philadelphia. Third down and 13 for Cunningham, and there's pressure. That's when he's best. Incomplete. It was intended for Byars, and he had to catch it on the first skip.
Saw a couple of pigeons down there on the field. I thought that maybe the Eagles had a couple extra players down there on the field.
Reinforcements.
You know what happened on the play actually was Ron Heller had a little problem outside with Lee Williams, number 99. He set back in good position, but he got beat late. That flushed Randall out of the pocket and forced him into an early throw.
So Steve DeLine, who was just acquired this week after Zendejas was released, has his first attempt. He's 6 for 8. This is only his 6th game in the NFL. It's a 48-yard attempt for DeLine. And he's 0 for 1 this year. Since the end of 1987, the Eagles have had 5 different place kickers. In these parts, call it America's finest city. And the hospitality and congeniality we've received this week have certainly indicated that. 7-0 San Diego. And McMahon has been 4 for 9 And the touchdown, of course, to Anthony Miller.
Well, the key, though, is they've been able to run the ball successfully. This opens up the short passing game. Anthony Miller makes the one-handed stab there and goes on in for the touchdown, and that gave the Chargers their first score and the only score of the ball game so far.
Tim Brand along with Dan Diggets. First down and 10, the ball at the 31 for San Diego. Dana Brinson gets a tough 2 yards, and he's tagged. And I mean rather rudely by Andre Waters.
Andre Waters has been criticized throughout the league sometimes for late hits and that kind of thing, but the one thing that you know about Andre Waters is he's going to deliver a blow at the line of scrimmage. He's going to hit some people when he comes up.
Philadelphia has a high-risk, high-reward defense. Explain the 46 to us.
Well, the 46 was originally named when Buddy Ryan was back at Chicago. We had a safety, and I say we because I played at the Bears at that time, named Doug Plank. And you know how Buddy always calls all his players by numbers. Well, Plank was the guy, he wound up on the line of scrimmage. They're playing like a linebacker. He's a safety, and that's how they got the 46 defense.
A lot of 5-1-5 looks. On 2nd down and 8, McMahon has company and throws this one away. And I mean, he had a lot of company, and it was coming fast, led by Reggie White.
If you're going to run the short rhythm passing game, the quarterback has to be able to unload the football as soon as his foot hits on the 3-step drop or the 5-step drop. If he has to wait any longer than that because receivers aren't open, then you're in trouble because that defensive line is going to jam the offensive line up in the quarterback's face and flush him out of the pocket. Watch here. Reggie White, number 92, gets good pressure there. Mike Pitts driving his man back, so that means that McMahon can't pull back up in the pocket. White almost gets the sack here, along with Clyde Simmons.
Should mention that McMahon has hit all 4 of his 3rd down conversions today. It's now 3rd down and 8. Oh, great pass. It can't be held by Wayne Walker, but he released it in a hurry and put it right there. He had to release it quickly.
One of the problems the Chargers have, they got 2 tackles. Both of them are Plan B guys, Miller and Patton. And if you have some kind of an idea what kind of trouble they could be in when they're going against that fierce pass rush of the Eagles. Dan Henning told us the other day that, you know, I've got to go with those Plan B guys. You don't like to do that because Fitzpatrick, one of their #1 draft choices, is also an offensive lineman, can play tackle for him.
He also just told Walker he's got to make those catches.
Yeah, no question about that.
Alisic on for his 2nd punt. His first one was only 31 yards. This one is a boomer. Oh, it almost brings rain all the way back to the 14. Gizmo Williams struggles back to the 21, but after a 31-yard kick the first time, Alisic booms a 53-yarder, but had a hang time of 4.7.
Hey, and that's pretty good. You're going to bring rain in the desert, huh?
Tackle was made by Plummer.
There's that Eastern Division of the NFC, and you can see the Philadelphia Eagles are firmly in number 2, 6-2. Of course, they beat the Giants, and would love to get another shot at them later on in the season and beat them again.
What are you going to tell me it doesn't rain in San Diego?
Only 60 days a year.
First down, Eagles. Drummond gets a block, gets the first down, and carries it out to the 37-yard line. Tripped up by Gil Bird and Vincie Glenn. Gain of 16. Take a look at what the Chargers are up against in the AFC West.
Kind of bottled up in there right along in the middle with the Raiders having a pretty good time of it as of late. Kansas City. And the San Diego is really just trying to get out of the cellar and get themselves established, get back on track this season.
First down at the 37 Eagles. Philadelphia also has the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL the rest of the season. Cunningham, backside pressure, throws across his body, has the completion to Carter at the 45, but there is a flag.
It appears that Keith Jackson is sitting down on the ground over there. I don't know if somebody knocked him down early.
Well, Dick Jorgensen will tell us. And it's against San Diego. Here's the call.
Holding, number 54, defense, decline. First down.
Billy Ray got mixed up here with Jackson, number 88. Now watch Billy Ray get his hands on him and just kind of throw him to the ground here. Feels that Jackson's open. He just grabs him and collars him and wrestles him to the ground. You can't do that after that 5 yards. You got to stay off the receiver.
So Carter's catch makes a 13-yard gain. First down and 10, the ball at midfield. Drummond It's a nifty little runner for a rookie. You know, the Eagles' running game has improved dramatically the last few weeks. It's now 4th best in the NFL, behind only Cincinnati, Chicago, and Buffalo. So the first quarter comes to an end, and the Chargers still lead it by a touchdown.
I was heading out to Baja.
7-0 San Diego as we begin the second 15 minutes here. Philadelphia heavily favored, but the 2-6 Chargers are giving them all they can handle right now. If you're just joining us, McMahon hit Anthony Miller with a 6-yard touchdown pass. McMahon went 4 for 8 on that first drive, hit all 4 third-down conversions, and it's stayed that way since.
And in case some of our viewers are wondering how come those birds are down on the field all the time, well, they just sprinkled some grass seed down here, and the birds are making the best of a very good situation by eating all the grass seed that's down here on the stadium turf.
They don't seem intimidated by those big guys either. Second down and 5. Byers with a great cutback to the 35-yard line. Finally tripped up by Martin Bayless. But this is the deepest penetration for Philadelphia this afternoon.
And Tim, one of the reasons why is that offensive line is getting some good surge, a 10-yard gain on the play. But watch what happens with the offensive line. Everybody's blocking back, getting off that line of scrimmage. You see Alexander right there, hook up on the linebacker, take him out of the picture. Everybody's cleared out of the frame, and that simply leaves Keith Byers all alone to run downfield. He gets knocked down by one of his own guys.
There's a flag now. We'll wait to see what that is. It will not be delay a game. Randall was telling us yesterday that he was a little bit out of rhythm because they've been running the ball so much. But right now he's 4 for 6, 56 yards.
The call is encroachment on the defense of the Chargers.
Encroachment, number 92, defense, 5 yards, still first down.
You're stealing his thunder.
Well, I'll tell you what, in a conversation with Randall, he did mention the fact that, you know, he would like to call his own plays again, but in talking with Ted Plum, the offensive coordinator, he said, well, we've got a lot of check with me's in the offense. What that means is Randall could come up to the line of scrimmage, look over the defense, and call a play either to the right or to the left based on what the defense is doing. So he does have a lot of flexibility built into the system.
That was the first penalty against San Diego, so it's 1st and 5 for Philadelphia. Drummond finds the going tough on the left side.
The reason why they want to have that ability to do those check with me's on the line of scrimmage is because you're going to see a lot of overs and unders in a 44 defense even from the Chargers. And that 44 defense goes back a long way. You remember back when the New York Giants used to run that defense so successfully. These guys on the defense of the Chargers will give you a lot of different looks, and as a result, there's a lot of one-on-one blocking up front for the offensive line of the Eagles.
Second down and a long 3. Keith Sherman comes into the ball game with Cunningham. Flushed out of the pocket and has to get rid of it quickly. Actually, he was flushed into the pocket.
And was met there by Bert Grossman, who puts a nice pressure on right up the middle. Bert Grossman is from the Philadelphia area, grew up on the main line. That's a fairly nice area outside of Philadelphia. But said he really considers Pittsburgh his home because he played college football there at the University of Pittsburgh.
First defensive lineman selected in the draft. He started every game at right end, and as a rookie has shown great poise. 3 sacks this year.
And the guys on the team, on the defense, were giving him a lot of grief because he's got small arms. They said he needs to pump up those arms. He looks like a DB.
Got bird legs, too. 3rd down and 3. Cunningham has the completion to Johnson, and it'll be enough for the first down. And I'm telling you, there was great defense out there, but the ball was perfectly thrown. Seal was all over Johnson.
Got a blitz up the middle, and Randall really stood in the pocket and just waited to deliver the ball until the last second, and that's what the quarterback has to do when he sees that safety blitz. Now watch the blitz come out of the left-hand side of your screen. Also, you're going to see Billy Ray Smith coming in and jump back out, but see, the cornerback and the safety are blitzing on the play. Randall just sits in there and fires that football.
Talk about threading it.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. Cunningham on first down throws behind Jackson, and he was open. So just as quickly as we say Cunningham puts it right where he's supposed to, then he comes back and throws it behind Keith Jackson.
Well, again, it's a timing thing. If you haven't had your tight end available to you for a week or two, it's going to make it difficult. Now watch Keith Jackson here on the crossing route. escapes the line of scrimmage very nicely. But one of the things that happens is the quarterback and the tight end try to get back together, get that timing back. You know, sometimes it's just not there if you haven't been used to seeing that guy in a week or so. And that time, that was the case with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jimmy Giles started for KJ last week and caught a touchdown.
Jimmy told him, Keith, take as much time off as he wants.
He said that's made him well in a hurry. 8th play of the drive. It started at the Eagles 21. On 2nd down, Cunningham goes to the corner to Johnson. No flags, incomplete. Sam Seal was the defensive back out there, and he got tangled up and got in the way of Johnson, but no flags.
But I hope everybody noticed that Bert Grossman, number 92, the rookie defensive lineman, again had pressure right up the middle, and that's where you're going to see him come inside in passing situations and come right up the middle of the Eagles offensive line. He was right in Randall Cunningham's face as he was trying to deliver the football.
Giants with a 14-3 lead over Phoenix. We'll keep an eye on that today. Very, very important for the Eagles. 3rd down and 10 for Philly at the 22. Out of the shotgun. Cunningham has company. Avoids one, but can't avoid the second. We told you about him. There he is. Leslie O'Neal, big number 91, his 7th sack of the year. A loss of 17.
Real key to this play, though. Good coverage downfield, number 1 by the Chargers. But watch Grossman, number 92. He gets underneath of Ron Heller, throws him to the turf, and then tries to flush Randall out, and indeed does. That gives O'Neal a chance to get in there and get that sack on Randall Cunningham late.
In Philadelphia, they call that a butt buster. 4th down and 26. More importantly, O'Neal's play takes Philadelphia at a field goal range. And Grossman shaken up.
Sometimes when you make the great play, you know, you have to pay the price a little bit, and that's what Bert Grossman is doing right now. We certainly hope that there's nothing serious. They had a good pass rush that time, got up underneath of Ron Heller, lifted him up, and then threw him away to try to get to the quarterback. Tim, as we talked about before, the Philadelphia defensive line, when there are good players, when there's a great player like a Reggie White, often the supporting cast is pretty good as well. And when you look at this Charger defensive line, Leslie O'Neal's a guy you expect to see in the Pro Bowl very soon. Of course, Lee Williams has been in the Pro Bowl, number 99. And now this young kid, Grossman, comes in and does a great job for him.
This defense this year for Dan Henning has gone beyond the call of duty. As a matter of fact, San Diego ranks number 1 in the NFL at stopping teams inside the 20-yard line. And they've just done it again. We mentioned that Philadelphia trails the Giants, and you saw the Giants score. And Philly has the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I think that's a mirage. You know, you look at those teams in Washington, Minnesota. Granted, Dallas may be a little bit easy, but they got to go back to the Giants again, and they got Dallas one more time. New Orleans is not going to be a cakewalk for them by any stretch of the imagination. And then you finish up in Phoenix, where it's going to be about 90 degrees.
But as Grossman comes off, statistics are a mirage that the NFL gives them to us, and we reiterate them. Telchik to punt. Wayne Walker standing at his own 10. Telchik will certainly try to pooch this one. He does. It's a high kick. And will be fair caught and fumbled at the 20. They're going to call it a muff, and it will be San Diego's ball. Well, that one will certainly be talked about for a while. Reichenbach fell on it after Walker muffed it. And they're going to give it to Philadelphia now.
The only thing is, on the muff, you can't advance it if you're the defense if you're coming down on coverage. You see right here, Walker clearly muffs the ball, tries to get in position to feel it, and just simply kicks off of his knee right there, and Reichenbach alertly falls on the football. You can't advance it, but it's Philadelphia's football on the play.
That's the kind of play that'll keep you at 2-6 or worse. 1st down, Philadelphia, the ball at the 19, and again the defense will be tested. Chargers lead it by 7. 12:04 remaining 1st half. Drummond loses a yard, and there's a flag. Hinkle and O'Neal made the stop. We'll wait to see what the penalty flag is. It's against the Eagles.
Ruling is forward progress was stopped. We have holding on number 88 offense.
Well, turnaround is fair play. Keith Jackson was held moments ago. Now he holds.
Now you see the NFL turnover ratio for the Philadelphia Eagles. They are plus 14, which makes them #1 in the National Football League. One of the things that Buddy Ryan coaches is telling his defense to strip the football when you're making tackles and that kind of thing, because that's the way you come up with those turnovers. It's something that he learned at Minnesota when he was an assistant coach there.
Third penalty for Philadelphia, 35 yards. First down for Cunningham. Has the completion to Byers inside the 20, breaks the tackle to the 13-yard line. Finally, Gary Plummer stops him. Plummer's the leading tackler. It's a gain of 16.
Keith Byers made a nice escape that time from Vincey Glenn, number 25, who had the coverage downfield of safety. And watch Randall Cunningham. We talked about how the quarterback needs a little time to get his vision downfield. This time he gets that opportunity from his offensive line, and boy, does Randall Cunningham deliver. Keith Byers wide open downfield. You see there, right there, he pulled away from Vincey Glenn. That's that kind of thing that Keith Byers gives you, that extra little dimension. Soft hands and a good runner after he catches the ball downfield.
Second and 4, Byers twists and turns and stumbles down to the 7-yard line.
Tim, this is the kind of game that offensive linemen love. You know, you get a little blood in there, you get a little beat up, but it's all one-on-one blocking. See who's the best guy. You're the guy across the line of scrimmage from you, particularly when you go back to that running game. You just line it up and blast it out.
So the rules of the game, straight ahead, no fair dodging. First and goal at the 8 for Philadelphia. Byers and Drummond in the backfield. This is Byers. Inside the 5 to the 1. There's a flag.
It's going to be on Mike Shadd, because Mike Shadd came down blocking, and they called a holding penalty on.
Number 79, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Mike Shadd is a second-year pro out of Queens, Canada. Plan B free agent, acquired from the Rams. You saw that's the 4th penalty against the Eagles for 45 yards, 3 of them for holding.
And you don't mind if you get a holding penalty on a passing play, because you can kind of understand that, but on a running play where people are twisting away from you many times, you get locked up, and if the defensive man pulls away from you, you just can't understand how can you get a holding call then.
First and goal at the 18. Ball's loose. Chargers got it. Oh, that defense.
Well, the case here is Randall Cunningham never really got the football from center. You see him fumbling it as soon as he pulls out. Now he's chasing it on the ground, and nobody from the Eagles seems to know that the ball's on the ground, bouncing around.
Which has had trouble scoring this year. Brought it out on its first possession, took it down, and McMahon threw a touchdown pass. The Eagles have missed a field goal. They've had plenty of penalties, and they've hurt themselves badly. They went all the way down to the 8 and came away with no points.
Well, when you expect to be a division champion, you can't do things like that. Go down to the goal line and then fumble the football. Those are the kinds of things that will drive coaches to the crazy house. Buddy Ryan's probably pulling his hair out now.
Tim Brand along with Dan Jiggets. First down, Chargers at the 25. And Marion Butts doesn't get much. Mike Pitts tagged him immediately.
There's a flag, a late flag on the play, because there was some pushing and shoving going on down there.
I think we may have a lot of that today.
Maybe they just wanted to scare him a little bit with the flag. Get him to stop.
I think if anything like that helps a team, it would help a team that's been struggling like San Diego. Get them fired up.
Get after some people a little bit. Jerome Brown is one of those guys in the defensive line of the Eagles that will definitely mix things up in the middle.
He'll talk a little bit, too. Second down and 9. McMahon 4 for 11, 44 yards. Started very strongly, but he's missed his last 3. Hits this one, and Cox will lose yardage. He'll also get hit about 5 times before he goes down. He's still not down.
Well, the ball was stripped, and Andre Waters ran into the end zone with the football. He thought he had the play, but they ruled that Cox was down when Seth Joyner hit him. See Andre there in the end zone. He thinks he found a little gold nugget out there.
Arthur Cox is 6'2", 277 pounds, 7-year veteran out of USC.
Came out to practice the other day, and we were wondering what he had on his face because he had some kind of cream on, and the PR guy tells me, he says, oh, he just wears a facial to practice every now and then. Likes to be a little different.
I want to tell you, that's one of the strangest practices I've ever seen. Weather was perfect. Billy Joe Tolliver was hitting wedge shots on one side. McMahon was catching baseballs on the other side. And Cox was getting a facial. Third down and 11. Again, there's a flag, and McMahon is taken down by Mike Pitts.
What happened on the play? Arthur Cox left early on the play. We'll have offsides on him.
Illegal motion, number 88, off a decline. 4th down.
Yeah, you always take the sack in that situation, but Mike Pitts in here blasts through that offensive line of the Chargers and gets the sack on Jim McMahon. And of course, you'll take the sack any day over the penalty. And if you talk to Mike Pitts, he says, hey man, those are my stats. Don't mess around with that. Nice rush in there. Just simply beats Richards on the play and gets the sack.
Now, Lissick will be standing at his own goal line. He's had a 31-yarder and won more than 50 yards. They've called him Hank the Shank in the past. He had a 5-yarder 2 weeks ago. He is able to really boom it. And he does this one. Williams will let it hit all the way back to the 31-yard line, and that was a boomer. Now this ball is loose. Was it touched? The Eagles get it. A 54-yard punt.
It was touched by the coverage team, and if you pick the ball up, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you can pick this ball up, run with it, and if you fumble it, you still get the ball back because the coverage team downed it already. They got to stay on the ball when they down it. You see Gizmo Williams trying to get away from it. He says, hey, that's a hot potato, let me get away from it. But you see the coverage team touches the ball. As a result, Eagles can pick it up, fumble it, whatever, and they still get it back.
8:04 remaining in the half. Simply a sterling day in sunny Southern California. Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. The Chargers lead Philadelphia 7-0. The touchdown was McMahon to Anthony Miller for 6 yards.
And Anthony Miller, you see him there in the yo-yo motion. Now watch him settle out here and make the one-handed stab on the catch, avoid the tackler, and take it into the end zone. The Chargers have had a lot of success running the football today, strangely enough.
Cunningham to Drummond out to the 38-yard line. Will not be enough for a first down. It'll be 3 yards short. So it'll bring up second down and short. The tackle was made by Gary Plummer. I would think, Dan, that this is probably the most dangerous situation for a defense, to have Philadelphia in second and short where Cunningham can do so much.
He can play action. He can go deep. I talked to Chris Carter before the game, and he said they're going to try some deep routes today. They haven't been doing it the past couple of weeks because they've been sticking with that running game.
Randall 7 for 12, mostly on short passes. Again, there's company. He avoids one tackler, throws now, and has the completion. Robert Drummond makes the catch at the 42-yard line.
Chargers sent Cedric Figueroa on the blitz. He comes in, and Randall, one of the things that he always brings to the party is that escapability. Now watch Figueroa, number 51, come in on the blitz. He's right here. Now watch him come on in, and you'll see him come in and force Randall Cunningham out of the pocket. Now Randall, escapability, comes off of that, finds his receiver Drummond downfield. Good ability there to throw on the run. Drummond smartly turns around, sees his quarterback in trouble, comes back to the football.
7 minutes, 19 seconds remain in the half. First down and 10 at the 41. Three-step drop. And Keith Jackson drops another one.
Many times when a young player like a Keith Jackson gets injured and gets banged up, they start thinking a little bit more about the injury than they do holding on to the football in those critical situations. This football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, really needs Keith Jackson to have a big day if they're going to be successful down here against the Chargers.
That's his second drop today, and could it be a little bit of frustration? He was talking about how many catches he had last year.
Well, all those things work in your mind. You know, the great year you had last year, the fact that you're injured probably for the first time in your career in a serious way. So you lose a little concentration.
On 2nd down and 10, Drummond breaks back across the pursuit. Billy Ray Smith makes the tackle. There's that Giant score, still leading 14-3 in the second period. We'll keep those of you back in Philadelphia updated on that score all afternoon. 3rd down and 6. The Eagles out of the shotgun. The Chargers are coming with the blitz. Intercepted. Sam Seal. Look out for the pitch. And the tackle finally made by Cunningham. A return of 22. They're having fun. There is a flag. And that's got the attention of Dan Henning, as you saw. Seal with the pitch to Glenn.
We have a personal foul, blocking below the waist by number 85 on the original offensive team after the interception. 15 yards, first down.
Penalties will drive that man nuts.
Well, what happened is Johnson gets called for a blocking below the waist. Now he's on defense after the ball is intercepted, and I'm sure that's what Buddy Ryan is saying. Hey, look, my guy now is on defense. You saw 85 Johnson go out of the frame there. Nice run back here by Seals. Now watch him later on in this run. He's going to flip it off outside. But what happened was there was 2 men blitzing on the play, and that really forced Randall Cunningham into a bad decision. But he makes a good play here, coming in and making the stop after the pitch out to Vincey Glenn, number 25.
How about Cunningham? He can punt, he can throw, he can run, and he can tackle.
One thing he doesn't want to do is throw interception.
1st and 10 at the 39 for McMahon. Look out. Chased out by Reggie White. Who else?
McMahon tried to run a little play action there, but he didn't fool anybody, least of all the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. Watch Reggie White, number 92. Good pressure in here. He could care less if it's play action or not. He's got Arthur Cox all hiked up in the air. Now he's chasing Jim McMahon to the sideline. It's going to be tough on a guy like Arthur Cox, a tight end, to try to block a pass rusher like a Reggie White. If that happens on a continuous basis today, Reggie White might end up with about 5 or 6 sacks.
That's impressive there, but Reggie's been held without a sack 5 of the 8 games. And a reason, quite frankly, he's been double and triple teamed. 2nd down and 11.
You're right, he's been held without a sack.
Marion Butts taken down by Evans and Pitts.
Byron Evans is one of those guys that Buddy Ryan says in a year or two he's going to be in the Pro Bowl. He's his middle linebacker, makes all his calls, and watch him just come in here, slice through, because he takes out all that interference with the defensive line, comes in and makes the stop. Buddy Ryan tells us he's one of the hardest hitting linebackers he's ever had, and that includes Michael Singletary of the Chicago Bears. That's a heck of a compliment.
Clyde Simmons is shaken up on the field for the Eagles. And with 6:04 remaining in the half, it's 7-0 Chargers. Today. 3rd down and 10 at the 39 for the Chargers. McMahon 5 for 12, 43 yards. Has time, throws it across the middle, incomplete. It was intended for Anthony Miller, and McMahon had him open, and he knows it.
Once again, they had Miller in motion, did that yo-yo motion and coming back up and coming back on the post pattern there, but Jim McMahon simply underthrew the football.
McMahon has not been able to hit Miller since that first drive.
And you would think that with a guy like Jim McMahon, who's used to throwing to people like Willie Gault, of course, Miller's the fastest man in the NFL right now because Darrell Green is out. Guy runs about a 4.2 40. So maybe you want to go long to a guy like him and test that secondary of the Eagles.
You saw Gizmo Williams. And to your right of the screen is Hank Ilisic. They're coming after him. Ilisic goes for the corner. It's a high punt that'll hit a cameraman inside the 20 at the 17.
That's getting close to the action.
It wasn't one of our cameramen. That guy was clueless. Next Saturday, it's college football featuring 7th-ranked Miami. The Hurricanes taking on the Pitt Panthers. The Hurricanes had an easy time yesterday. That's beginning at 2:30 Eastern time here on CBS Sports. Boy, there have been some great college football games.
And Miami's been involved in a lot of them. And, of course, everybody expected Miami to fight Notre Dame for that #1 spot, but they dropped one last week and really sent things into a tailspin for themselves, dropped from #2 to #7.
Nebraska-Colorado yesterday was sensational. Congratulations to the Buffaloes. Drummond breaks a couple of tackles and spins his way for a first down out to the 35-yard line.
You know, this is one of those games that's kind of shaping up now where it's a true test of who wants the game the most. When you line up, you get those kinds of runs from your running backs. Your offensive line is up in front, tagging some people along that defensive line. By the same token, the Chargers' defensive line has been putting a lot of pressure on Randall Cunningham when he wants to sit back and pass the football.
Before we went to that last commercial, you said, or you saw that Clyde Simmons was shaken up. We have word now he was poked in the eye. He will return. First down, ball at the 36. Cunningham drills this one complete. Carter to the 44-yard line. Oh, Cunningham really unleashed it.
I tell you what, though, I thought that Chris Carter was going on a little jogging routine there, and he was at a stoplight because you saw him come in motion and just hold up for a hot second there while Randall Cunningham finished the snap count. Now watch, you're going to see Carter come out right out in this area and come across on a crossing pattern, come right up underneath of the linebackers. It's on a little bit of a delay here. Now you'll see him come out of that right corner. There he goes, coming across, dropped in between the zones there, between the cornerbacks and safeties and the linebackers, found that little open spot, nestled down in there and made the reception.
21-yard pickup, second catch for Carter. First down for the Eagles. Drummond, he's getting a workload today. And he's got another first down before he's pushed out by Plummer.
Leslie O'Neal had the angle on Drummond that time as he tried to come outside, and he was very frustrated right at the end of the play, just kind of clapped his hands together. He's number 91 right down at the bottom of your screen. He's in great position now. Here's a guy with 4.5 speed, and all of a sudden he can't catch Drummond. He had a serious knee operation a couple of years ago and is coming back from that therapy.
The Eagles now have 80 yards rushing, and I should make this note. Philadelphia has run for more than 130 yards in each of the last 4 games, and they won them all. First down, Byers straight ahead.
Go back to a very conservative offensive philosophy coming both from Ted Plum, the offensive coordinator, and Buddy Ryan, the head coach of the Eagles. You win with good, strong defense and a good, solid running game. Sparse, sprinkle in there with some play action passes and go downfield when you need to a guy like a Chris Carter. But keep the football, get the time of possession up, and more importantly, get into the end zone when you get a good run.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remain first half. Second down and 6. Cunningham on play action. He's dangerous. Inside the 20 to the 19.
You'd think that a coach would be concerned about a quarterback such as a Randall Cunningham running the football. And Randall told us something yesterday that was very revealing, or the day before yesterday. He said he now takes more risk when he runs the football than he did before he got his new contract. He says now he feels comfortable. He's got the security that he needs. And you see there in that kind of a situation where he took it the extra couple of yards to get close to that first down yardage, get the first down yardage, and get out of bounds.
Well, he was always worried about getting injured, but now he's secure for life, as you mentioned, with that contract. You don't want your quarterback to be the leading rusher, however, and he has been the past 2 years and is now. First down, Philadelphia. Cunningham, this one's up for grabs, and it's caught. Keith Jackson inside the 5 to the 4. Cunningham took a lick. The ball floated and sailed on him a little bit, but Jackson made the catch for a 16-yard gain.
Randall took a little bit more time trying to drain this play out a little bit. Leslie O'Neal's coming from the top of your screen, number 91. You see him right there isolated, and watch him working against Matt Darwin. Good outside move, the little rip technique with the arm under, swats him out of the way. Randall pump faked the thing, wanted to get it in there. Couldn't really see Jackson downfield at that time, and then later on was able to squeeze it in.
You may have heard that. Number 66 offense is eligible. It's Ken Reeves. Byers and Drummond in the backfield. First and goal at the 4, and Philadelphia takes a timeout. Their first. It's a 40-second timeout.
Yeah, they took the timeout because they only had 1 second left on the 45-second clock, and Randall Cunningham looked up in that end zone and saw that 1 second, said, we better pull out of this one. We're down here in scoring territory. We want to make sure we do it right.
Well, Philadelphia has had penalties today. That has hurt them. 5 penalties, to be exact.
What you do now, if you're Ted Plum, the offensive coordinator, you see there talking to Randall Cunningham, is you want to stay with your ground game. It's been successful for you. You get down here close to the goal line. You want to have one of your backs with the ability to go over the top. Push it in there about a yard or two, get close to the end zone, and then send a guy over the top. The quickest way to get into the end zone is a straight line, not running outside.
The Philadelphia Eagles are 6-2. They've won 4 games in a row. It's their best start since 1981 when they were 7-1. Mainly because of that guy. RC. Randall Cunningham. And we told you Ken Reeves is the 3rd tight end. First and goal at the 4. Cunningham. Garrity. Touchdown, Eagles. And Garrity's hurt.
He may have fallen on the ball, and that pushed the wind out of him. You see him trying to hold his stomach there a little bit. So he made that catch, which was a great catch in the corner of the end zone. He fell on the football. Watch Garrity. He's going to be coming in motion here. You can see him touch Randall Cunningham there to let him know he's going back the other way. Slides out and does that corner route in the end zone. And watch this beautiful touch by Randall Cunningham. Just floats it over in there. Beats Gil Byrd for the touchdown. Once again, Gil Byrd, number 22 for the Chargers, is trying to cover Greg Garrity from all the way inside. He's going to come all the way back outside to cover Garrity, number 86. Randall Cunningham, nice little touch in here. Just feather that thing in there. Let Garrity run under. He makes the stop, and there he falls on his shoulder and the ball.
He has always been a clutch receiver. 7-year veteran out of Penn State. He's only 5'10", 175 pounds, but he's one of those guys who's not a burner, but he always seems to get open.
You need players like Greg Garrity, control guys, go down and run the route correctly, always be in the right position to make the catch. And the key thing is make the catch when you have the opportunity.
He does that. He doesn't miss many. 2 minutes, 24 seconds remain in the first half. It's 7-6 Chargers with the extra point yet to come. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, Brent and Irv with all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the league. I thought it was interesting, Dan, listening to the NFL Today this morning. And they were talking about Bobby Beathard perhaps going to the Jets. We were talking with Dan Henning, who's a very close friend of Bobby's, was with him in Washington with the Redskins. Dan Henning said he wouldn't be surprised to see Beathard here, possibly before the year ends.
Well, certainly Bobby Beathard has a home down here in San Diego. He's a California guy, and everybody figured that this was the natural place for him to land. However, I think the situation front office-wise has got to be totally correct for Bobby. And what that means is Steve Ortmeyer, who's in charge of personnel right now, has to make some kind of a decision on whether or not he's going to be here. And that is all in the hands of the owner, Alex Spanos.
It is not a new bulletin. It's certainly not a flash. People have talked about Bobby coming to San Diego since he left Washington. He seems to be very comfortable in television. He is continuing to do his scouting. He's traveling quite a bit. And he has a home up in Oregon, too, which he seems to love more than any other. DeLine on for the extra point. He missed a field goal earlier. It's his first extra point attempt with the Eagles. And it's good. So with 2 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the half, we're tied at 7.
Buddy Ryan has this little thing with the club now. What they do is they give out $100 for a big play. You know, when you make a big play like Garrity just did on the touchdown, you get $100. And I was talking with Dan Neal, the offensive line coach of the Eagles, who I played with in Chicago, and he was telling me the story. He says, these guys, you know, on Saturday night they give out the awards, and these guys want to get to that thing before they get to the meetings, to Buddy Ryan or anything else. He says, and you wouldn't believe it, you know, $100, and these guys stand up and they're cheering, and you know, they want to strut their stuff after they win and all of that. They're only allowed to give out 9 because the league limits them, because they don't want it to get excessive. And it's, again, there's Greg Garrity leaving the field, and we certainly hope that he's okay. But it looks like they're going to take him in for some x-rays.
We'll keep you updated on his situation. This is the way the NFC East looks. Right now, the Giants are beating Phoenix. They stand at the top of the standings at 7-1. Now, Philadelphia at 6-2 has already beaten the Giants. And are 3-0 in the NFC East.
And I picked them to win the NFC East, and certainly they've been living up to that prediction so far. They can get past the Giants one more time, even things up. They'll be in great shape going into the stretch. Buddy Ryan said the key to winning your division is you want to win the games in November when the snow starts flying.
Having lunch with Buddy Ryan Friday, I asked him about the media. I said, does it bother you that they're already talking playoffs, this being a dream season, perhaps a Super Bowl for Philadelphia? He says, I love that. Let them talk it all they want. We will respond. Keep the pressure on. And he didn't choke at lunch. Holland and Miller are deep for the Chargers. This is Anthony Miller. Miller's got a hole, and he can fly out to the 35, the 36-yard line. Well, the Chargers, Dan, picked up 74 yards on their opening drive, but in the last 4 possessions, they're -3 total yards.
And that's the one thing when we talked with Dan Hennings, he said he's looking for a little consistency out of this club. If he can get that offensively, he's certainly getting it defensively. If he can get some consistency out of the offense in terms of doing some things right, then they're going to be set up pretty good.
That's a telling stat. First down, the ball at the 35. Pass caught underneath the zone by Jamie Holland. A gain of 6. Clock continues to move. And they won't get this playoff. The 2-minute warning. We're tied at 7. Timeouts remaining. Philadelphia has 2. San Diego has 3. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I think the one thing that San Diego has to do now is learn how to use their 2-minute offense. They certainly had a problem with it last week against Seattle. One of the things that you want to see Jim McMahon do if you're a San Diego Charger fan is use the whole field with his wide receivers. Spread the ball around a little bit and force the Philadelphia defense into one-on-one coverage.
2nd down and 4 for the Chargers. The hurry-up offense has been a problem spot for San Diego. McMahon tucks this one away and slides for the 1st down.
Tim, I don't understand it. Quarterback takes a 3-step drop and all the receivers run 30-yard routes. Somebody's got to turn around for the football.
Number 1, 46.
The Chargers take another timeout. 1:49 remaining. 1:49 remaining in the first half. As you look at Buddy Ryan, 2 timeouts remaining. And the Chargers just got their first down since early in the first quarter. Brinson on a draw play loses a couple of yards. The crowd doesn't like that. Reggie White makes the tackle. And this has been the problem here in San Diego. Their hurry-up offense has been ineffective. McMahon has the completion. Holland across the 45 to the 41-yard line. Andre Waters makes the tackle, but it's a gain of 15. The clock continues to move. He didn't get out of bounds. Still plenty of time, though. 71 seconds. McMahon. Incomplete. It was thrown at Anthony Allen. And William Lefty Frizzell may have gotten away with one. He was right on his back.
And he almost had the interception. He had a hand on it. Could have reached down there and picked it off and taken it back in the other direction for a touchdown. What happened on that play is the Eagles started to blitz a little bit. They wanted to put additional pressure on Jim McMahon. Once McMahon, we mentioned spreading out the offense. You see the 4 wide receivers spread out across the line of scrimmage. What that means is putting pressure on each one of those defensive backs to come up and pick one of those receivers up.
2nd down and 10. Chargers definitely want to avoid a turnover. They want to get to at least field goal range. McMahon has it. And Miller down to the 20-yard line.
Miller successful on the crossing route. Again, the Eagles are getting caught in between those little zones where they're dropping back. Miller just slid in there and made the reception.
A gain of 21. Incomplete. It was thrown at Caravello, but it was thrown way behind him.
That time, the Eagles defense went to man-to-man coverage, had their cornerbacks up on the line of scrimmage, jamming the receiver so you can't get that free release downfield and get to the open spot.
McMahon didn't like the cut of Caravello. Somehow there was a miscommunication.
This is where Buddy Ryan defenses typically, and Jeff Fisher, their defensive coordinator, will tell his guys to tighten up down here. When you get inside that 20, that's when you start seeing blitzing out of the defense, one-on-one coverage as we just saw.
2nd down and 10. Chargers. The timing pattern on the fade incomplete. Thrown in the direction of Miller, who already has 4 catches today. The clock is stopped with 34 seconds.
Mentioned that you want to send the blitz out of you're going to see a blitz out of the defense of the Eagles. They didn't do that, indeed do that. And then what happens is you get man-to-man coverage downfield. Nice fade route there by Miller. You want to throw that thing so you can float it over there to the sideline, let your receiver catch it, and either get into the end zone or get out of bounds.
It'll bring up 3rd down and 10. The ball still at the 20. McMahon has missed his last 2. The Chargers are in field goal range, and we're tied at 7. 6 defensive backs for the Eagles. Pressure coming. It's complete at the 15 to Anthony Miller. Correction, Brinson. .22 seconds remain. And the Chargers take their 2nd timeout. They have 1 remaining. Well, when we talked to Dan Henning yesterday, he said one of the things they wanted to do was play within themselves, not make many mistakes, and melt the clock and just stay close.
He said keep the game close. That's the key for him. Keep the game close until you have a chance to win it in the last couple of minutes of the ball game, and certainly through the first half of this ball game. That's what the Chargers have been able to do with a very explosive Philadelphia offense.
It hasn't been a terribly effective offense for the Chargers. After that first drive, they struggled. This drive has been inconsistent, yet they've moved the ball.
Well, one of the keys, though, is their offense has been able to stay in the ball game because their defense keeps them in there. The Chargers defense has kept the Eagles offense bottled up pretty much throughout the first half.
You know, Philadelphia had that big win over Denver last weekend. They came out here for the week. Buddy Ryan, instead of praising them, really ripped them Monday morning because he didn't want to be upset by San Diego, and really stayed on them hard all week. As you look at Chris Barr, it's a 33-yard field goal attempt with 22 seconds.
Buddy Ryan's defense has always blocked field goals straight up the middle. A lot of pressure on the center and the 2 guards.
So we'll keep an eye on the middle. You're looking right down the pipe. Barr blocks it. And it's no good. It was touched in the middle. And Barr has it blocked. It was touched, wasn't it, Dan?
It sure looked like it because it went way over to the left. We'll see, though.
I thought somebody got a hand on it. Maybe not.
Well, the reason why Chris Barr was brought in here to the Chargers is, of course, he's been around a long time, and Dan Henning brought him in because of his experience. Now, let's watch right here in the middle and see if this is simply shanked or is it touched by one of the defensive linemen. You see Reggie White, it was shanked to the left side, but Reggie White had his hand up right in the line of vision where Chris Barr wanted to kick the ball. You see that surge that they had in the middle of the defensive line there, and Chris Barr just kind of folds his hands up and goes, I can't believe I missed that one.
So with 17 seconds left now, Cunningham scrambles. and has it complete to Carter at the 33-yard line. I thought White had a hand on it.
It sure looked like that from the, it's an optical illusion, though. Sometimes when you see that ball coming up off the kicker's foot. Key thing here, though, is the Philadelphia Eagles can still get down and get in field goal territory with 11 seconds left. They've got to stop. The Chargers have to stop the Eagles from running those sideline patterns. You got to cut off the sideline and make them run to the inside of the field.
Drummond, Johnson, and Carter at the bottom of your screen. Cunningham throws to the backside to Keith Jackson. He sidesteps one tackler and then carries it to the 43. Sam Seal trips him up there. You see the clock has expired, and the first half will end. We've had just about everything in the first 30 minutes, and we're tied at 7. So Philadelphia comes in as the heavy favorite, but it's the Chargers that score first, and the Eagles really had to scramble, Dan.
They really did, but Buddy Ryan really respects the ability of a Jim McMahon, and certainly Jim has displayed that ability today.
We're tied at the half. To Trivia Butts as we kick off here to start the second half. Ball taken by Edwards, and he is hit hard at the 15. But Philadelphia has lost the 9th game of the season, Dan, 7 straight years.
Well, I think that now is the time that they're looking to turn that stat around. Good thing you didn't tell them that before the game.
Well, I said it's of little significance, but it's an interesting number for Trivia Butts. 7-yard return, first down and 10, the ball at the 15 for Philadelphia. You're a trivia buff, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Fires, jumps over a blocker, spins, and turns his way up to the 17-yard line.
You know, I'm sure Buddy Ryan is going to have a little discussion with his return men about the bad field position they've been getting as a result of kickoff returns, poor kickoff returns, and that type of thing. Now that forces your offense to change its mind a little bit about what it wants to do offensively. When you start from your own 15-yard line, suddenly you can't get in the sync in terms of the running game and the passing game that you want to use.
Second down and 5, the ball at the 20. We're tied at 7. Cunningham. It's complete to Drummond. He's got the first down at the 33-yard line. And the word we just get on Greg Garrity is he has a fractured clavicle, and he will miss the remaining part of this season. Bad news for the Eagles.
Particularly when you have your possession receiver, your sure guy, sure-handed guy, go down. Now all of a sudden you have to search around the league, look around the waiver wires, and see who's available.
It'll be first down, the ball at the 32. After a 12-yard gain. Play action, Cunningham's in trouble. Escapes that. But he won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Leslie O'Neal.
I'll tell you why Randall Cunningham was in trouble. He had his tight end, Keith Jackson, tried to escape off the line of scrimmage, and he got downed about 3 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Randall's looking to go to him, and all of a sudden your tight end is down on the ground. Now watch him. He's working against number 54, Billy Ray Smith, and right there you saw him go down. And remember, he's got that bad ankle. And as a result, Randall has to pull out and look for somebody else downfield or try to run the football, and that's what he does. And Leslie O'Neal makes the stop.
It'll be second down and 12. Okay. Again, there's pressure. To the 40-yard line. Finally, Gary Plummer makes the tackle.
Bert Grossman, number 92 for the Chargers, has to be wondering when he's going to get his sack on Randall Cunningham. He's seen him a lot, but he just can't visualize him. Watch number 92. And he's playing against Matt Darwin there, number 78 for the Eagles, and flushes Randall out of that pocket. And Randall, this is what he does exceptionally well. faking out that defense up there. But see, when the defense is in that zone coverage, it makes it very difficult for the quarterback to find those open areas, excuse me, when they're in man-to-man coverage.
Puts the ball out, lunges forward with that one hand, still short of the first down. It's a 10-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 2. Byers has the first down and then some.
One thing good running backs will do is they'll look for a little cutback, look for that daylight. Keith Byers finds it over on the left side of his offensive line. Good down blocking there by Darwin, number 78. And that allows Byers to slide through in that backside. You saw him just kind of slide through there. Drummond had a nice block at the point of attack.
If there has been one player that has really been a surprise today for the Eagles, it's been Drummond. 8 carries, 60 yards running, 4 catches, 60 yards catching, 120 yards total offense. First down for Cunningham. Incomplete. Intended for Byers.
And Randall Cunningham talked to us about his offense getting out of rhythm a little bit because they've been running the football so much, where he's used to throwing the football. One of the other ways that it shows up is if you start getting a lot of pressure in your quarterback, because all of a sudden your offensive linemen are dropping back and becoming somewhat passive because they're doing a lot of pass blocking instead of being aggressive and firing out on people.
Saw that Raiders score. Bo Jackson has a couple of touchdowns. 92-yard run for one.
Bo knows football.
2nd down and 10 at the 47. Nothing for Byers this time unless he makes it himself and he pushes forward. But Lee Williams made the stop, and the ball will be marked at the 48.
Leslie O'Neal, good pressure up the field. This guy is going to go to a Pro Bowl, Tim, because what he does is he disrupts an offense. Because he's got so much speed coming off the line of scrimmage, if you're relying on a running back to block him, because he is considered an outside linebacker, he was a defensive end. If you want that running back to block him, he's got to bring a load to stop this guy. He's 6'5 and a half, 260 pounds at outside linebacker.
Former defensive end, had a knee injury in 1986, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
And with the 4 downs, he'll go down as a defensive end as he does now.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd and 8. Look out. Cunningham to the 40. Billy Ray Smith makes the tackle, but a big gain by Randall Cunningham. 11-yard pickup.
You know, and you always talk about coaches not wanting their quarterbacks to run, but what it does is it really puts the defense in a sweat, because they know if the quarterback who can run as well as any running back you've got on the team can get loose, then it makes no difference what way they cover downfield, because he's still going to gain the necessary yardage. So Randall Cunningham is one of those guys that puts defenses in sweats.
Drummond loses 2. Again, it's Billy Ray Smith and big number 91, Leslie O'Neal. Let's take you back to New York and Brent Musburger.
Tim, here's a moment that Philadelphia Eagle fans are going to enjoy. Hogaboom on the quarterback draw has scored for Phoenix early in the 2nd half. They close in on the Giants now, trailing by 4. We'll keep you up to date. Let's send you back to Tim.
All right, Brent. Here we're tied at 7, and we are watching that score closely because all the folks in Philadelphia are interested. Loss of 1 on the last play. It'll be 2nd down and 11 on the San Diego 41. Blitz is coming. Was it complete? No, they say he was out of bounds. They'll talk about whether he would come back inbounds if he hadn't been hit, and they think not. Jim Collins rode him out, but that pass was really thrown well, considering the pressure that Cunningham was under.
Well, certainly the Chargers expressed to us that they were going to try to put some pressure on Randall Cunningham, force him into some bad decisions. Here he makes a nice pass, but Drummond is just not in the position to make the catch and stay in bounds. Good pressure, though, on Randall Cunningham. Forced that play to be thrown a little bit early, forced the ball to be thrown a little early. You see Lee Williams, number 99, he's coming in on a pass rush. 55, Collins is in there as well from his linebacking position.
3rd down and 11 at the 41. Pressure again. This time Cunningham cannot escape. sack of the day for San Diego.
And Bert Grossman, number 92, finally gets his sack. Something he's been looking for all day. Good effort there. Throws off the offensive lineman and comes in and traps Randall Cunningham. The key, though, is they're collapsing the pocket up the middle and then closing in the sides, giving Randall nowhere to run.
Grossman's 4th sack of the year. Telchik to punt. And Wayne Walker will be deep, standing at his own 10. Not a good punt by Telchik. Walker's had trouble with 1 or 2 of them. There's a flag, and they're going to be... I believe they'll call interference against Philadelphia because Walker had called for the fair catch. And he's got every right to follow the ball.
I think it was William Frizzell, 33, that ran into him. This is going to be a conference call here.
Larry Nemmers, the line judge, talking with Dick Jorgensen. Now the group of them come together. I don't think there was any question about it. His hand was up. He called for a legal fair catch high above his head, waved it back and forth.
There you see Walker with his hand up in the air, clearly calling for the fair catch. He's moving up forward, and the question will be, I'm sure, whether or not Frizzell was blocked into Walker.
That was Martin Bayless, number 44.
Here's another peek at it. Now watch as you see Frizzell come down. He indeed is pushed by Bayless, I believe that is. Pushes him into the receiver.
The kicking team player was pushed into the receiver. The ball hit him on the shoulder, went upfield about 12 yards. It's going to be the receiving team's ball. First down, no foul.
And thank you for that play-by-play.
So now that we have all the business straight, Chargers get a break, I guess.
Yeah, they do. They kind of dodge a bullet there. But when you look at it, though, the Eagles kind of dodged a bullet, too, because if Frizzell had been called for that, interference is 15 yards, and certainly the Charger offense would have taken the penalty.
9 minutes and 18 seconds remain in the 3rd period, and we're still tied. 6 minutes on the opening drive of the 2nd half. Got to the San Diego 47. Cunningham was sacked, and we're still tied at 7 with 9:18 remaining in the 3rd period. Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggetts. And Dan, talk a little bit of strategy here and give us an overview of the game thus far.
Well, I think one of the things that the Chargers have done is they've been able to effectively keep the ball long enough to keep their time of possession up and keep it out of Randall Cunningham's hands. And their defense has played exceptionally well, as has the Eagles' defense. But what you have to do now, if you're Dan Henning and the San Diego Chargers, is start using that short passing game again, spreading out the field, or getting your wide receivers spread out in almost like a 4 wide receiver formation.
First down, Chargers. Big hole straight ahead for Butts. Out to the 45-yard line. Wes Hopkins made the tackle, but it's a gain of 11.
One thing you don't want to see if you're looking at that Philadelphia defense is you don't want to see the safeties and the cornerbacks making those tackles 10 and 11 yards downfield. You want to see the defensive linemen and the linebackers making them. If Wes Hopkins has to make the tackle, as he's very capable of doing, that means that the offense is gaining too much yardage on you.
Longest San Diego run from scrimmage today. Here he is again. Still on his feet to the 47-yard line. And, you know, 248-pound running back, that seems to be vogue now in the NFL. When you think of Christian Okoye and Ironhead Hayward, Marion Butts is 248 pounds.
And up front, he's got an offensive line that averages about 6'5.5" and over 300 pounds. So you add that all up, and that means maybe the Chargers should be running that ball a little bit up front. If their guys are healthy and feel pretty good up front, let's load that ball up and hand it off to Marion Butts and see what he can do with it.
Well, you're right. It is the heaviest offensive line in pro football. Yet San Diego ranks 26th in total offense. Second down and 4. Play action, going deep. Wide open is Caravello. To the 10-yard line.
Phil's one of those guys that used to be an offensive lineman too. As big as he is now, you see Jim McMahon going here to that play action. The key though is you see the linebacker stayed up close to the line of scrimmage. Seth Joyner recognized it late and got out there and finally got downfield and made the tackle. But they've been running the ball, San Diego has, so successfully that when you run that play action right away, those linebackers freeze because they want to see what's going to happen on the run. And suddenly they realize, uh-oh, it's pass.
A gain of 38. Still on his feet, butts inside the 5.
This is not a friendly contest, my friend.
It's just the way it should be.
Line up and put your hat on somebody. Saw Reggie White there, came over with another shot that time on Butts, but he kind of bounced off. He was a little afraid to come in there and really fire him up because he felt that maybe he's going to get the penalty on the play. Now watch White come in here late and get a hit on Butts. You'll see him come in, and he really is not committed to really sticking him because he's a little bit afraid. Now Broderick Thomas goes downfield, number 76, for the Chargers and gets things started up, gets him cranked up right there. He gets a shot on Byron Evans, and they just start mixing it up.
Evans gets one back. 2nd and goal from the 5. Butts is met head on this time and gets back to the line of scrimmage.
San Diego tried to run a little trap up inside in that time, and they just didn't get Jerome Brown blocked. You see what Philadelphia's defense is able to do down when they get down in that tough territory. They've only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns this season. The fewest, tied for the fewest in the National Football League.
Third and goal at the 5. McMahon to the corner. Incomplete, intended for Dana Brinson.
Credit good coverage to Andre Waters downfield and pressure from Clyde Simmons coming in and getting in Jim McMahon's face. But Andre Waters had exceptional coverage that time.
Well, the crowd doesn't like this decision. The Chargers are going to go for the field goal, which is the proper decision here. But the crowd wanted them to go for it all.
Yeah, but they don't have to listen to the owner on Monday if you don't get in the end zone.
Chris Barr missed on 33-yarder late in the half. This will be a 23-yard attempt. You see it'll be slightly right to left. And San Diego takes the lead again with 5:39 remaining third period. It's 10-7 Chargers. By 3 with 5:39 remaining third period.
That's kind of a pretty moonshot, isn't it? Out here on the West Coast, San Diego, the weather is beautiful. The game has been a nice struggle, defensive struggle. And if you like defensive struggles, this one has not been a disappointment at all.
Barr's kick is short. Williams takes it at the 17. Look out. Up to midfield, they'll mark it at the 49. Somehow they lost the contained man on the outside, and Williams picked up 31.
Many times what you'll see teams doing is switching up their kick returners, and that's what the Eagles did. But watch here as number 23 loses his the key there is Gizmo stepped out of bounds. You see the official should have marked that one there. At least it appeared from our screen and our replay that he did indeed step out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. But Gizmo made a nice run out of it, and now I think they are reviewing that play.
They will look at it again. Bottom line is Roy Bennett, number 23, had outside containment and lost his lane.
And I just saw that out of bounds step there. I had to mention that one. Let's see what the official ruling is. I think so, but you see very clearly here, you see Gizmo comes real close right there to stepping out of bounds on that white area. But again, you have to leave that to that official right there to make that call. But he's looking at Gizmo instead of looking down at the sideline. So we'll find out a little later on what that call is after the replay officials get through with their decision-making process.
I can tell you this, the near capacity crowd just saw it on the big screen on the scoreboard. And you could probably hear their reaction in the background. The replay official today is George Sladke.
George is going to have to pick up the slack here. Watch the receivers switch positions now. Why they do that is because they figure the Chargers may want to kick to one rather than the other.
Receiver stepped out of bounds on the 18-yard line. First down and 10.
They're ruling he did step out.
Gizmo Williams looking up, making sure that he feels the ball cleanly, stepped out of bounds as he did indeed do that. And as a result, the Eagles are taken back to their 18-yard line.
Buddy Ryan showing you what he thought of that call. First down and 10 at the 18. Keith Sherman comes into the ball game. He's along with Byers. Cunningham will run it and go down at the 22-yard line. He saw Jim Collins, the linebacker, coming and very wisely took to the turf.
If I'm Randall Cunningham now and I'm looking at that Philadelphia offense, I don't want to be scrambling right now. I want to be able to set up in my pocket, or in that case, run my waggles and my dashes, get outside and throw the ball downfield, because I want to put some pressure on that defense now of the Chargers. I don't want them thinking that I have to run every play because my receivers can't get open downfield.
4:50 remaining third period. Second and 6, Byers straight ahead. If you're just joining us, on the very first drive, Jim McMahon hit Anthony Miller 4 times, the final one for a touchdown. Chargers went up 7-0. And Randall Cunningham hit Greg Garrity for a touchdown. Garrity fractured his clavicle. He'll be out for the season, but it was a touchdown Philadelphia, and we were tied at the half at 7. The Chargers got a field goal here in the second half, and they now lead by 3. Third down and 3 from the 25, Philadelphia. Again, Cunningham's in trouble. And sacked for the 4th time today. Again, it's Leslie O'Neal, big number 91.
And Bert Grossman, number 92. The mainline guy, the guy from Philadelphia. The guy who I asked him, I said, you know, you come from a pretty nice area. You don't play football for money, though. He goes, absolutely.
John Telchik, number 10 to punt. And again, it'll be Wayne Walker. Walker's been exciting today. Twice the ball's been on the ground.
Thriller kick.
High spiraling punt. It'll turn over. Walker will fair catch it at the 31. And again, he bobbles it. A 52-yard punt, no return. And Walker breathes a sigh of relief. Cunningham on the bench has thrown for a touchdown, but he's also thrown for an interception, and he's been sacked 4 times.
The key, though, is he's not been able to sit back in the pocket comfortably. Look at the hurry, 6. Those are almost worse than sacks. They are worse than sacks because it forces your quarterback into bad situations. 6 knockdown balls. That's a tough day for a quarterback. If he can't sit back there, gets harried 6 times, 4 sacks, that's 10 total passes. He's thrown 23.
He's been sacked 25 times this year. 3:42 remaining third period. First down, Chargers. Play action for McMahon. He's going deep. Miller. Touchdown, Chargers. 69 yards. That's Miller's 5th catch of the afternoon. He's got 2 touchdowns. Barr adds another one.
We talked about Anthony Miller being the fastest man in the NFL off the play action. Jim McMahon finds him on the post route, and he beats everybody in sight, including Isaiah Jenkins, for the touchdown. Anthony Miller runs a 4.240. That's slightly below the speed of sound.
On the ensuing kickoff, takes it out to the 28. But Jim McMahon has just thrown a 69-yard strike to Anthony Miller for a touchdown.
Jim McMahon can throw the long ball, and here it takes us off a play action. Anthony Miller never breaks stride on the play. McMahon with a beautiful touch in here. It's like a BB at midnight when you see Anthony Miller catch this thing over defenders Wes Hopkins and Isaiah Jenkins and just never breaks stride. Takes it in there on the turbos.
3 minutes, 23 seconds remain, 3rd period. The Eagles are shocked. First down, Drummond straight ahead. Gets 4. Leslie O'Neal made the tackle, and he's been busy all afternoon.
Now, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles offense, what do you do now? You know your running game has worked successfully for you, but you're down by 10 points right now. You try to establish one good, clean drive in the 3rd quarter, get the touchdown out of that, and then you have the whole 4th quarter to work on getting that field goal or that other touchdown. Get back in the game.
Quick drop, quick throw. It'll be close to a first down. Ball's loose. They're going to call it down. No fumble. Ron Johnson made the catch. Seal made the hit. And Glenn picked it up.
Ruling is down by contact. Whistle blew.
That was really a forward progress situation where he had gotten the forward progress, and then he was stopped. And the quite possibly had an inadvertent whistle here. You see him now, he's tied up, and a couple of guys come in there on him to put him down. And right there, the ball pops out. And his knee did not look like it was down, but it has to be, in that case, an inadvertent whistle. That's the only other call they could make in that situation because Ron was not down on the ground.
It's short of the first down by that much.
Quite possibly the whistle blew early on the play because you saw clearly that the receiver's knees were not down to the ground. But if they feel he's in a compromising position to get hurt, then they will blow the whistle.
Of course, if that whistle blows, it's not subject to replay. It'll be 3rd down and less than 1.
Eligible.
The officials notify us that Ken Reeves, number 66, is eligible. He's usually a left tackle. It's 3rd and less than 1. Ball's on the ground. They didn't make it, but there is a flag.
Somebody along that Charger defensive line encroached before the ball was snapped.
Consequently, Cunningham jumped and never really did have possession of the snap.
Offside. Defense. 5 yards. First down.
Dan Henning there, you see him with the suspenders under the shirt. That's a new look. He's making a fashion statement as well as having a pretty good football game.
Cunningham on first down. It's complete to Ron Johnson. Leslie O'Neal made the tackle, but there's another flag down. It was thrown in the backfield, and it's against Philadelphia.
Holding, number 23, offense, still first down.
That's why it was thrown in the backfield. Heath Sherman, the fullback, was holding, and it's the 6th penalty against the Eagles this afternoon. 70 yards and penalties. And that's the 4th holding penalty. First down, they need 20. They go up top to Johnson. Oh, what a catch, and there's a flag down. First down, Eagles. A gain of 27. Talked about the catch, Dan, but what a great throw by Cunningham.
Interference. Number 30, defense, decline. First down.
Randall Cunningham throwing off the back foot as he's dropping back. He's getting a little pressure, but watch him on the touch on this play. I mean, this is beautiful. Now watch the receiver Johnson just kind of fade away a little bit, get away from the defender there. You see the little bump in there, and that's why the flag was thrown, but they'll take the pass instead of the penalty.
First down at the 39. Fires. Gets a tough 3 yards. 1:25 remaining in the 3rd period. Next Saturday, college football continues on CBS. 7th-ranked Miami against the Pitt Panthers, beginning at 2:30 Eastern time right here on CBS Sports.
Sure, number 92 for the Chargers, Bert Grossman's going to be watching his guys in action. He's just a year away now from having been at Pittsburgh. Keep a close eye on the fellas.
On 2nd and 8. Drummond gets 3 more.
Nice crisp block that time by Ken Reeves, number 66. Comes in there on that offensive line for the Eagles when they get things a little shaky. He's a veteran, been around about 12, 13 years, knows how to get the job done, particularly in one-on-one situations when you're blocking mano a mano. And that time he took his man out, took him to the turf, got a pancake block.
So it'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Cunningham. The Eagles trail by 10. Keith Jackson has the first down. Ridden out by Gil Byrd and Lester Lyles.
Keith Jackson, when we talked to him earlier in the week, has that stimulator on his leg because he has that bum ankle, and he's really coming back into his own now from his tight end position.
We now pause for a word from your local station. We begin the final 15 minutes. First down, Philadelphia. Cunningham sacked again for the 5th time today.
Leslie O'Neal and Bert Grossman in on the play. Leslie O'Neal came from the backside. Number 91 is kind of coming here. Randall's rolling out this way, so usually don't block that backside linebacker, but in this case they should have, because Leslie O'Neal comes in, and you see right there Billy Ray Smith, number 54, along with him. Grossman closes in from one side. O'Neal, number 91, from the backside. Randall Cunningham doesn't have a chance.
And Bert Grossman is hurt again.
One of the things you can't do, though, is the Philadelphia Eagles is give up. And certainly in the 4th quarter this year, the Eagles have not. They've been fantastic in the 4th quarter in terms of heroic comebacks.
These are some impressive numbers. The win against Washington was miraculous the way they came back. And you see the deficit against the Giants in Denver, and they're down by 10 here. Leslie O'Neal has 4 of the 5 sacks today.
You mentioned at the top of the game, Tim, that he's one of those guys that when you start thinking about Pro Bowl outside linebacker / defensive ends, those hybrids, Leslie O'Neal's a guy that certainly is coming next to the top of the league in terms of the AFC. Went through a very, very tough period while he was rehabilitating a knee that was completely shredded. And he went up to Tahoe and worked with a doctor up there, Dr. Stedman, who also works with a lot of the people on the ski team, the U.S. ski team, and kind of separated himself a little bit from the club because he wanted to really dedicate himself to getting the knee back in shape and getting back and being a positive contributor to the club.
He now has 10 sacks for the year. 2nd down and 20. Again, there's pressure, but Cunningham escapes. Great move to the 30 and goes down at the 25.
I want to say something, though. Keith Jackson threw a key block on that scramble by Randall Cunningham. You saw him coming in, just kind of take a guy out just as Randall was trying to make his break back across the field. Had he not thrown that block, Randall wouldn't have gained 14 yards on the play. Watch Keith here, number 88. He goes downfield, sets up in his stopper out there. He sees Randall's in trouble, tries to work open. Nothing happening there, so he turns back around right there on the 30-yard line and takes out Billy Ray Smith with a key block that sprung Randall Cunningham. That's what you need from your receivers. If you're not going to catch the ball downfield, get down there and throw on somebody.
Some move by Cunningham at the 30. He's special. 3rd and 7. Throwing for the corner. Incomplete. Keith Jackson and Carter ended up in the same area and collided.
And if I was Elvis Patterson, I'd put my hands down because his guy was wide open into the end zone. And the problem was the play took so long that the receivers crossed each other's paths.
He almost ended up with an interception, though. Watch the end of this.
Pressure there by O'Neal. You see him flushing Randall Cunningham out of the pocket, but see two receivers on parallel routes here, and that's the problem for the Eagles. Jackson underneath and Carter in near the end zone. Jackson tips the ball. Carter really can't see it after the tip.
Keith Jackson is shaken up again. He came into the game with a sore ankle. Prior to that, he had back spasms, so he's been hurt on and off all year. Tim Brandt, along with Dan Jiggets, at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. The game started with McMahon taking the Chargers all the way down on the first possession and throwing a touchdown pass to Anthony Miller. It was 7-0 after 1. In the second quarter, Cunningham hit Garrity with a touchdown pass to tie it. Garrity fractured his clavicle. He's gone for the year. Barr hit a field goal in the third period, and then McMahon threw another strike to Miller. And it's 17-7 Chargers with 13:33 remaining in the ball game. And as you look at the trainers work on Keith Jackson, it was interesting when we talked to him at the hotel the other day. He was walking around then with a stimulator.
That's right. What it was doing is putting a little painkiller into the leg, but as well stimulating the ankle and all the muscles surrounding it.
Jackson has 4 catches today, 35 yards. He did drop too early.
Hey, look at how this game has gone. The real story to this game has been Jim McMahon. Had a tough week with the Chargers and with the press here locally in San Diego. Has really come back strong in the ball game.
Philadelphia's new kicker, Steve DeLine, he missed from 48 yards in the first half. This is from 43. And this one's good. And so Philadelphia pulls within a touchdown. 26 remain in the ball game. San Diego with 10 third quarter points. You see Miller's numbers. Garrity out with a broken clavicle, but a big field goal just now by Steve DeLine of Philadelphia.
Tim, earlier he had missed one from 48 yards out in the first half, and you know that was a real big one for him because that gives Buddy Ryan some confidence in him now. Of course, they released Luis Zendejas earlier in the week and kept Steve DeLine, so now the pressure's really on that young man in only his 6th pro football game.
The field goal pulls the Eagles within 7. DeLine's kick will be taken by Miller. And he goes out of bounds at the 22-yard line. A return of 18.
He really ran about 55 yards, but most of it was from sideline to sideline.
The Eagles held the ball 5 minutes on that last drive. They got 3 points. It's 17-10 San Diego with 13:50 remaining in the ball game. Giants continue to lead. Butts. to the 28-yard line. Marion Butts, the rookie out of Florida State, averaging better than 4 yards per carry, tied for the AFC lead with 7 touchdowns.
That time, Jerome Brown found himself meeting Marion Butts in the backfield of the Chargers, but simply missed the tackle. He could have had him drop for about a 5-yard loss.
It'll be second down and call it 3. This is Butts again, gets back to the 30 and stretches ahead to the 31. Jerome Brown made the tackle. He got help from Seth Joyner.
Jerome said, "Fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me." And he wasn't going to let Marion Butts go that time. Read the play right now on the line of scrimmage.
Dan Henning's game plan coming in was to melt the clock and keep it close down late in the ball game. He felt that his team had been in close ball games. Matter of fact, the last 4 games, they've had a chance to win it on their last possession. He thought they could win this one if it was close. 3rd and 2. McMahon throws incomplete, intercepted. Eric Allen to the 23-yard line.
Well, it looked like it was tipped by Jamie Holland, number 86. And as a result, Eric Allen gets the interception and an 18-yard return on the play. That's being alert back there in the secondary. Now watch, McMahon delivers this ball inside. You're going to see the receiver, Holland, make an inside route there. Jamie Holland gets it inside, but he tips it up. If you're going to tip it, you better slap it to the ground because that secondary is waiting back there to pick it off. And Eric Allen does that and makes a nice little run back as well. Here's another look at it. Now watch for number 21. You're going to see Eric Allen just slip in there after that ball is tipped up by Jamie Holland, and he just picks it off in stride.
First down, Eagles. Drummond breaks 2 tackles inside the 15 to the 11. A gain of 12.
We ran a graphic earlier about how Philadelphia is so strong in terms of turnovers. And look at those interceptions. They lead the league right now in interceptions with 19.
They also have 13 fumble recoveries, and the Eagles are plus 14 in the turnover ratio. First down at the 11. This is Byers to the 4-yard line.
Ken, this really comes as no surprise. This is the way the Eagles have been winning lately. You know, winning in the closing minutes of ball games with key interceptions and turnovers, taking advantage of them when they get the opportunity. It seems like they can't really explode early in the game like they want to and get out front.
Clock continues to move. 10 minutes and 35 seconds remain in the game. It'll be second down and 2 from the 3. Straight ahead, fires to the goal line. Touchdown, Eagles.
Keith Byers runs with an awful lot of heart. Watch this. He gets a good surge from his offensive line, but watch the desire to get to the end zone. What you want to see out of a running back is desire to get to the end zone, to put your head down there and get that tough yard. You saw him getting pulled back. His head's getting pulled back there, but he just kept going to that end zone.
The extra point is good. We're tied at 17. 11 seconds remain in the ball game. We're tied at 17. We were just telling you earlier about how Philadelphia has come back in the 4th period this year. And look at the 4th quarter heroics. They've done it again. Miller across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Tackle was made by David Little after a 29-yard return. So McMahon now will try to work the clock effectively.
You see that shoulder harness on Jim McMahon's left arm. Again, he had a problem with that left arm while he was in Chicago, and he's wearing a harness on the left arm. And of course, he had surgery on his throwing arm as well. Here's that harness up underneath there. Keeps the shoulder from getting separated.
Also had blisters on his hands when we talked to him in the locker room.
Yeah, but that's from using the baseball bat.
Plays baseball at practice every day, before and after. First down, Chargers. Butts is hit by Reggie White immediately, and he's thrown for a loss.
Tim, you take all pros on a defensive line. You can run a play effectively, maybe about 3 or 4 times. Getting late in the fourth quarter, though, the only person you're fooling is yourself if you think you're going to run that same play past Reggie White.
Loss of 5, second down and 15. Chargers go to a passing formation. Brinson comes into the game. McMahon throws to Brinson. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage. William Frizzell takes him down there. McMahon comes up limping.
That's just a momentary thing. Now, I think somebody may have stepped on his dogs. Those big guys step on your feet. It hurts a little bit. Here he's setting up in the pocket. Let's see when he gets hit or when he gets stepped on. Right there, one of his guys steps back. That's big old Fitzpatrick, and he's about 310 pounds. And, yeah, I'd be limping, too. Be like me stepping on your foot, Tim. He's got that hot foot. Ooh.
Don't demonstrate. Third down, they need 13. McMahon needs a big play here. And he gets it. Complete to Walker at the 45-yard line. A gain of 16.
Cool under fire, though, Tim. You saw the blitz coming. Jim McMahon could feel the blitz coming from the backside, just sitting there and met the rush head on and just unloaded the football. Watch this blitz coming from the backside, though. You see McMahon looking downfield. He can understand that he's going to get hit, but he stays in there, delivers the football downfield. That's what you want your quarterback to do. Take that shot when he's got to, but be a man about standing in the pocket. Once again, here's that shot that he took. Clyde Simmons up on top. William Frizzell, I think that was Lilly, number 37, excuse me.
The Giants said McMahon didn't like to take a hit anymore. He took it that time. Carries it back to the line of scrimmage. And Jerome Brown takes him down.
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor said that McMahon looked a little scared in the pocket and all the rest of that. One thing that Jim McMahon has never been as long as I've known him, and that's been since 1982, is scared to get hit on the football field. If anything, he probably takes it too far the other way in terms of running out of the pocket like he just did and trying to meet somebody head on. Buddy Ryan certainly expressed his opinions on Jim McMahon when we talked with him.
Holding number 46, defense, 5 yards, first down.
A holding penalty against Jenkins. That's the 7th penalty against the Eagles.
Ryan said he thinks that McMahon is a tough kid, a competitor. One of those kind of guys that, they talk about the foxholes and all the rest of that. He's a guy, if you get in the foxhole, you want to have next to you because he's going to try to win.
The Eagles got 10 points in 3 minutes to tie this thing up at 17. We've got 7:22 remaining in the game. It's first down, Chargers. Butts bangs his way out across the 45, but a flag comes flying through.
Reggie White, it appears, is finally going to get a holding penalty, and it may be on Arthur Cox, number 88, on the backside of the play.
Well, I want to tell you something. They threw that flag in there with authority.
They threw it from Los Angeles County down here to San Diego, too.
There's a rock in that flag. That could hurt somebody.
Reggie White's been complaining for the last couple of weeks that he's been being held, and he certainly has been.
Holding number 88, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
So it's big Arthur Cox who gets nabbed for holding.
Now watch Arthur Cox, number 88. holding on Reggie White. He gets that hand outside the framework of the body, and he keeps it out there. That's the thing. You got to bring it back in. And now he tries to cut Reggie. It's a pull down and then a cut. That's 2 moves. And Reggie didn't like either one of them.
I don't think Reggie took your tip either that you gave him Friday.
I told him to grease up those arms a little bit so those guys can't grab a hold of him as easily. He told me he was going to do it before the ball game now. 3rd penalty against San Diego. It's 1st and 20 at the 41. Another flag flies. This one's incomplete. Wayne Walker was the intended receiver. Isaiah Jenkins was the defensive back. This time it's the Chargers that are happy. McMahon wants to know if it's an automatic.
Holding, number 99, defense, 5 yards, first down.
Tim, when you sometimes as a defensive line, you run twist and stunts up front. And what happens is, watch the stunts in here. Watch when they cross over inside. What the defensive linemen try to do is grab a hold of the jersey. You see Jerome Brown right there, number 99, pulling his man out. That's defensive holding. You're not allowed to pull the jersey and pull an offensive lineman out of the picture like Jerome Brown just did. And as a result, he gets called for the holding penalty.
So the answer to McMahon's question was yes, it is an automatic first down. It's the 8th penalty against Philadelphia today. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remain in the ball game. And this is Marion Butts. Big hole to the 40. A gain of 16.
Because the San Diego running game has been effective, the Philadelphia defensive line is in a bit of a quandary. They're not sure whether they want to pass rush or play the run, and as a result, the run breaks loose here. Marion Butts gets into that secondary of the Eagles, and the last guy to stop him was Wes Hopkins, number 48.
The rookie rambled for 44 yards and 7 carries last week in the 4th quarter. A big gain here. He's got 49 today. Here he is again. Inside the 35 to the 34. Let's take you back to New York now for an update of that Giants game. Brent?
Well, Tim, the Cardinals were threatening to score a touchdown, and here comes Lawrence Taylor. Not picked up. That's 4 sacks of Hogaboom today and 12 on the year for Taylor. 2013 as Phoenix settles for a field goal. Let's send you back to Tim.
All right, Brent, 5:25 remaining in the ball game here. We're tied at 17. But the rookie running back, Marion Butts, has come up with 2 big runs. It's 2nd down and 7 for San Diego. McMahon goes for the corner, intended for Jamie Holland, overthrown.
Tim, when everybody thinks about how come the Chargers have such a good game plan for the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to think back to the fact that Dan Henning has seen these Eagles for quite some time, having been at Washington with the Washington Redskins. It's not unusual for him to see this club and understand how he's got to go about attacking it.
One of his former Redskins now comes into the game, Joe Carabello. He will be the H-back as you look at the score by quarters. San Diego jumped out early. Philadelphia tied it. We were tied at 7 at the half. The big story, the Eagles scored 10 points in 3 minutes in the 4th period, and we're tied at 17. Dana Brinson is hit. The ball's on the ground. We'll wait to see who got it.
Looked like Joe Caravello, number 46, recovered the fumble. But Mike Pitts is in there battling with him.
Well, there was no signal immediately, so they could still be wrestling at the bottom of that pile. We'll wait to see who has it by the time the officials get down to it. The Eagles.
When you think about what gets you in a ball game, what helps you win a ball game, or learning how to win ball games, it's hanging on to the football in critical situations. Right here, Clyde Simmons with the big play, forces the fumble out, and now Mike Pitts gets down, and it looks like Caravello has recovered it, but Pitts is a little bit stronger than Caravello, and I think he just reached in there and took the ball away.
Pitts was sitting on it. White and Simmons made a pancake of Brinson. Big turnover. Game here at San Diego. Tim Brand along with Dan Jiggets. We're tied at 17. The Eagles have the ball. First down. Drummond. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Bert Grossman is back in the ball game, and he made the tackle.
Backside pursuit on that play stopped the Eagles from being successful. Grossman comes in from that backside, slices down the line of scrimmage, and stops the running back.
A loss of 2, so he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 12. You see the time remaining. The Eagles have 3 timeouts remaining. San Diego has 3. Cunningham to Drummond has the first down. To the 48-yard line before Gary Plummer can take him down.
Drummond on a nice curl route just got in front of the linebacker Collins and made the reception. This guy's got nice soft hands for a running back.
Gain of 14 in the 5th catch for Drummond.
Had a great day so far in terms of the Eagles offense.
Anthony Tony's been banged up, hadn't played. Keith Byers has that sore knee. He has played, but the story's been Drummond. Byers gets 3 the tough way.
I'll tell you one thing, Ron Johnson came back with a nice little turn back block there right at the point of attack. And he stole on Sam Seal. You see Keith Byers slow getting up. Ron Johnson, those wide receivers blocking downfield, coming back and making sure that they get the man on the ground.
The Eagles taking their time, knowing that Cunningham is a curator of clocks. They have 3 minutes, and that's plenty of time. Cunningham with the completion to Jimmy Giles.
Giles making that reception. Keith Jackson is available to come back in the ball game, but got kicked in the leg, so Buddy Ryan made the decision to keep him on the bench for a while and let Jimmy Giles do a little bit of business out there.
Cunningham now 19 for 29, 237 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Drummond's not going to make it. Great push by the San Diego defensive line led by Bert Grossman.
Grossman and 99, Lee Williams, both of them got in there and just kind of strung that play along, stopped it right at the line of scrimmage. If I'm Buddy Ryan here in this situation with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock, I think I'd try to run this one. You need about 6 inches or yard, to make the first down. Jim McMahon is also a magician at working a 2-minute drill, even though he had a problem last week. Give that football back to him, you might be out of luck.
We're at the 2-minute warning, and as Telchik came on to punt, Cunningham was trying to get him off. But it's going to be Telchik who stays to punt. Expecting to see 60 minutes. I'm Tim Brand along with Dan Jiggets at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. We're tied at 17 between the Eagles and the Chargers. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety following football. But there's some business to be taken care of right now, and John Telchik is on to punt it for the Eagles.
And the Chargers are taking no chances looking out for their fakes because they know Telchik's a good athlete to throw the ball as well as run it.
Walker is standing at his own 10 for the Chargers. It's a high spiraling kick that'll be pooched inside the 20. Take an Eagle bounce and roll dead at the 9. A 35-yard punt and no return. We're at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. Tim Brand along with Dan Jiggets. 1:48 remaining in the ball game, and we're tied at 17. The Chargers will have the ball. First down inside their own 10. Philadelphia has 3 timeouts remaining. San Diego has 3 timeouts remaining.
Tim Randall Cunningham works magic in the last 2 minutes, and Jim McMahon has been known to come back and work a little magic himself in the 2-minute drill. Getting comfortable with this offense now, and that's dangerous.
Well, the Chargers had a 10-point lead here in the 4th period, but the Eagles got 10 points in 3 minutes, and we're deadlocked. McMahon. Incomplete. It was intended for Dana Brinson. Let's take you back to New York now. Here's Brent Musburger. Brent.
Tim, a man who's had a big week for the New York Giants is linebacker Pepper Johnson. He picks off this pass by Gary Hogeboom. Giants are up by 7 now. They'll try to run the clock out and preserve this win down in the Valley of the Sun. Let's send you back to Tim.
All right, Brent, here it's 1 minute and 44 seconds remaining in the ball game. San Diego is 2-6. Philadelphia 6-2. The Eagles trail the Giants by 1 game in the NFC East. 2nd down and 10 Chargers. Jamie Holland's got some room. He'll be 2 yards shy of the 1st down, but there is a flag. And it's going to be against San Diego.
Chargers ran the reverse, but many times when you try to run that reverse, your man gets away from you, you tend to grab him. You saw Henning is not pleased with the developments on the field.
We'll edit what he said and paraphrase.
Holding, number 76, offense, half the distance to the goal line, still 2nd down.
To put it simply, Henning said every time. This one's called against Broderick Thompson. If the Giants do melt the clock like Brent said they were trying to do, then they will go to 8-1. Philadelphia at 6-2, but they've got all they can handle right now. 2nd down and 15 from the 4. Marion Butts to the 18-yard line, but he'll be short of the 1st down. A gain of 14.
That's a gutsy call down there near the goal line, though, to run that counter tray when you could get stopped there and maybe get stopped on your 5 to 7 yard line, something like that. That's a very strong call by Dan Henning. It shows he has a lot of respect now for his offensive line and their ability to block up front on the running game.
Under a minute. Butts, 1st down, Chargers. And San Diego will take one of its 3 timeouts. Seven sailors died in a gun explosion on the battleship Iowa. Did the gunners made aboard the Iowa kill them? 60 Minutes tonight on CBS. Followed by Murder, She Wrote. Then the CBS Sunday movie, Taken Away, starring Valerie Bertinelli. That's all tonight on CBS. 48 seconds remain in the ball game. We're tied at 17, and the story has become Marion Butts, the rookie out of Florida State. 15 carries, 57 yards, 50 in the 2nd half. And the rookie rambled for 44 in 7 carries last week in the 4th quarter. McMahon on 1st down has gone deep. Jamie Holland. Clock continues to move. A gain of 49. 25 seconds left. McMahon runs the clock play, and it stops with 17 seconds. Oh, what a pass from McMahon to Jamie Holland for 49 yards. Correction, Walker.
McMahon finds Walker on the go route. It'll be on the left side of your screen. Gets nice protection, time to set up. I said before, if you give this guy time during the 2-minute drill, you can find yourself in some deep trouble. There he just pushes Igel Jenkins to the sideline, comes back to the field on the go. You cannot give Jim McMahon time in the 2-minute drill.
Walker has 2 catches, 65 yards. That's his biggest. McMahon straight ahead to the 25. Mike Pitts makes the tackle. I'm not sure what that was.
He turned around to hand the ball off on the counter. Trey, and the running back is nowhere in sight, so he tucks it up and runs himself.
8 seconds remain. They're tied at 17. This game now is up to Chris Barr.
Chargers could have very well blown it on that play. The running back was nowhere to be found. Maybe you want to run something to the sideline, a quick out, get a couple more yards to allow Chris Barr to come in there and get a little bit closer.
So McMahon has done his job with a lot of help from Wayne Walker. And now Chris Barr will attempt a 44-yard field goal to win it.
And believe me, that defensive line of Ryans is going to be coming off trying to block this kick.
Chris Gannon is the snapper. David Archer is the holder. Chris Barr is the kicker. And it's from 44 yards out. No good, but there's a flag.
Tim, whoever was over the nose of the center jumped and trying to get that offensive line to go offside.
False start, number 70, offense before the snap.
I think it was Jerome Brown. He just jumped a little bit trying to, everybody's real tense down there. You just give them that little motion, and all of a sudden somebody says, hey, the ball snapped on that offensive line, and they jump a little bit.
We have a false start before the snap, 5 yards, still third down. Timer, reset the clock at 8 seconds.
So they will reset the clock at 8 seconds.
The key was it happened before the snap.
You saw Buddy Ryan say decline it, but because it happened before the snap, they move them back. So they reset the clock at 8 seconds. They move it back, and it'll now be a 49-yard attempt for Barr.
Come on, Sam, yeah! Do it!
He gets a reprieve.
Dan Henning said this is why he wanted Chris Barr over Steve DeLine, who was here earlier with San Diego. He said Chris Barr has that experience in the critical situations to make the kick when needed.
His longest is 39 this year. He's 5 for 7. This is from 49 yards.
Chris Barr, though, is in his 14th NFL season, and believe me, he's seen these kinds of situations and opportunities before.
His career longest is 55.
Now the rush becomes very much more important because the ball's going to be a little bit lower when it comes out of here.
It's good. Roughing the kicker, penalty, declined. The field goal is good.
Chris Barr got some elevation on this one, and as I say, his brother made a kick earlier this season by a coat of paint, and that's what Chris Barr made this one on. 14 years kicking in the National Football League, and he still can get up and get a little happy about being successful. Pictures tell the story. 4 seconds left.
4 seconds remain in the ball game. And how about this? As you look at Barr preparing to kick off, number 12 to the left of your screen is Randall Cunningham, who will be standing alongside Gizmo Williams as a return man.
Tim, you remember that old play that Stanford ran with Cal Berkeley for the last play of the game. Expect a lot of games on this one. There's going to be a whole lot of passing off and throwing back to the other guy and trying to get the ball downfield.
Well, let's just sit back and enjoy it. Barr squibs it. This is Byers. Picked up by Cunningham. Falls on the ground. Chargers get it. It's over. San Diego wins it 20-17.
And now the Philadelphia Eagles slip another game back in back of the New York Giants as the Giants move to 8-1 and the Eagles to 6-3.
So now it's 8 straight years that Philadelphia has lost the 9th game of the season.